Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Premier Perspective. Welcome back. We took a little break. I was moving into college, so needed some time to adjust. Now we're back, and we're here to talk about out of the big six teams, and now we say big six as in the teams with the most money, considering that Arsenal is in 20th place. But who out of
No
the big,
points, no goals.
no points, no goals, but who out of them had the best window? Now, I would say last, I would go with I would go with Arsenal. The reason why is because of the money spent and how I still look at that team as not much of an improvement. They
Oh yeah,
went
totally.
50 million for Ben White, 30 million for Ramsdale, which is so unnecessary because they have Leno, who's a good keeper. Odegaard for 35, which I think is actually a good signing. Lakanga, which I think was around 20. Tavares, left back. Don't know why they need one, but I think it was about like 8 million. And then
He was cheap.
Tomiyasu, the new Japanese player that they got on deadline day, which is a center back, right back, it said, for about 20. So then again, you still look at that team and they're not that much better.
They're really not that much better, and it's positions that they're just not doing anything with. While they might have these players,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you sold Emmy Martinez for 27 to Villa, and then
Uh,
bought Ramsdale for 30.
and
Um,
Martinez is so clear.
oh yeah,
Martinez is such a good
Martinez was
keeper.
crazy.
I
He
thought he
is.
proved his worth during
I
that
thought you
time
did
that
too.
Leno was out for them to
I
just
thought
sell
you did
him.
too.
But that was just I thought was poor decision by Arsenal. I would say out of the big six, even though Liverpool only had the one signing of Kanate, which really isn't anything, but Liverpool was still already a great team. So
Yeah,
for that
Liverpool
reason,
didn't need
that much. I
didn't
mean,
need a lot.
obviously, I think it would have been good if they would have bought a creative midfielder because I think that's the
Right.
only thing that they could use. But they already have a great squad, so wasn't really a need. So for that reason, I put Arsenal as the worst transfer window out of the big six. I put Liverpool as fifth because of, like I said, not really doing much. Um, and then I would say fourth and third are probably like City and Spurs.
Yeah, I'd say in that order. I'd
Um,
say fourth City.
yeah, for City, the reason why is yes, Jack Grealish I think is a great signing. I think he brings a lot to City. But then again, also there were some problem areas like, um, you know, left back. I thought it would have been nice for us to sign a left back, considering now that Zinchenko needs rotation and now Mendy suspended and probably never playing another game, rightfully
Right.
so. And then obviously we would have loved a striker like a Kane, but that didn't happen either. So for that reason, I'll put it fourth. And then for Spurs, I actually think this is a pretty decent transfer window. I
I
always
think
thought
so
that
too. I would say
I
so.
always thought that the reason that Spurs struggled was because of their defense.
That's true.
And bringing in a really good center back in Romero, who was one of the best center backs of Copa America, and then
Mm.
bringing in a promising right back, which has been an issue for them because Serge Aurier has always been super, super mediocre. I thought it was two really good signings, and then bringing in a young talent like Brian Gill from Spain, it's a decent window.
Yeah, I would say so too. As for City, another thing to consider with Grealish, he definitely brings a lot, but you also have to look at the amount of money they spent on him.
Uh-huh.
I totally think that 100 million for Jack Grealish was crazy expensive.
Yeah, I think so
Um,
too. I would have
so
maxed.
while
I would have
he's
maxed out at 70, 75.
yeah, I would say so. But anywhere between 60 and 75 would have made sense to me.
Yeah,
100 was way too much, and at that point, there's no way that you're not going to break some sort of rule by
yeah,
if they were to sign a striker such as Kane,
mm,
that would cost them an excessive amount of money, such as that.
exactly.
But as for
So it would
Spurs,
have been too
I would
difficult.
consider it. Yeah, it would have been just another mess like they got themselves in 2 years ago. But as for Spurs, I would say that this, like you just said, Javi, like I would say that that's totally a successful window. Brian Gill is a crazy talent from Spain. Emerson and Romero solidifying Spurs defense. Spurs, they've never really had problems going far. I mean, Kane and Son have always been solid for them.
Yeah,
They've
now
had
it's confirmed that
players in the
Kane is
midfield
staying.
create. Right now that Kane is staying, the only part of their team, like in some games, I think it was that City Tottenham game last year where City beat them 3-0 and absolutely just tore them apart. Tottenham didn't necessarily play bad, but if they had a defense that could build out
Uh-huh.
and solidify the game by themselves, that's a completely different game. But since they
Yeah.
didn't, and it just all broke down from there. So now with the signings of Romero and Emerson as center back and right back, respectively, I think that's going to be we're going to see a much solid Spurs team going forward in this season. We already have in the beginning of the season, but when they go to play those tougher games and when players go down to
Uh-huh.
injury and when the end of the season becomes a little more dire in terms of who's able to play, I think
Yeah,
that'll prove to be a positive thing for them.
for sure. And then now for second, I'll go with Chelsea. Um,
Me too.
I think bringing in a striker like Lukaku was the missing puzzle piece for Chelsea. That's really all that they needed, was someone who's going to score all the time. They thought that they were going to have that with Timo Werner, but he struggled for goals. And I thought that, I think he strives much better on a wing position in that one of those attacking wingers in the 3-4-3 that they play. I think he'll be much better suited there now that Lukaku's there. And then to even add to everything that was already going well, they brought in Saul from Atletico Madrid, a great center mid on deadline day on a loan. I think that's a great signing. You're adding depth to that center mid position. You already have Conte, Jorginho, and Kovacic all playing that, but now you're adding someone else to that. It's great for squad depth. I think it was great transfer window for Chelsea.
Yeah, that's huge squad depth, especially in that midfield. I've always said that Chelsea midfield is extremely solid, and to to have at any given time either Conte, Kovacic, or Jorginho to be on the bench, that's just crazy depth to have, especially when you have so much flexibility in the formations you can play. And even if you went to one CDM, then you have the attacking options. Then you can play Werner a little bit deeper because him at striker, like you said, just wasn't going to work. Him being the lone striker that you could expect to put away goals, but that's where Lukaku comes in. Lukaku is for sure going to be that puzzle piece that they needed because at times like Chelsea last season, if they had a striker, a reliable striker, if they had a Lukaku or someone like a Harry
Yeah.
Kane or Erling Haaland, any of those kind of strikers last season, they would have gotten farther up, finishing the Prem than they already did from that comeback,
Hmm.
and they would have put everyone to bed in the Champions League. It
Yeah.
wouldn't have even. I know they
I mean,
won, but it wouldn't have
they
even.
already won and pretty much did,
They
but
won it, but it wouldn't
at a
have even been a
stronger level
question.
too. Yeah,
It wouldn't have even been a
for
question whether
sure.
or not they were going to win if they had that striker because the amount of chances that they just threw away because either
Yes.
Tammy Abraham or Timo Werner, neither of them were doing it for them. So Lukaku this season is going to be
Uh-huh.
huge for them.
For sure. And then with such a great window as Manchester United,
Yeah, it's a
um,
crazy window, man.
problem areas that they had. They needed another attacking creator. They brought in Jadon Sancho. They needed a partner for Harry Maguire because Lindelof and Eric Bailly were never cutting it. They bring in Rafael Varane. And then put the cherry on top, they decide, right at the end, why not just bring Cristiano Ronaldo?
Why not?
So
Just bring him in.
you already have
Simple.
you already had a great window, and then now you're bringing in Cristiano. The only question mark that I have for United is the lack of a proper CDM. I think that if United had a player like a Rodri or a Conte, they're blowing everybody out, no question.
Yeah, that's a Champions League winning team. If you have
Yes, if you
a
have like a,
CDM like
if you
that,
have like a Rodri or a Conte or a Fabinho, like that team is winning everything without any questions. Like no one is touching
because
them. I don't even think PSG
totally
would touch them
not even no, most definitely PSG would not touch
because
them at
that's
that
what.
point
But
because
then again, you've seen the inconsistencies with Manchester United. Now, I think that they're gonna have a good season. Now, whether they win titles or not, I think that they need to at least win something. If
I think
this
they need to win
season,
something with this team
if
too.
this season goes titleless with the squad that they have, it's time to let go of that manager because that team is too good to go another year. without winning a title. Because then
Yeah,
it would be 5 years without a title for United, which would
and looking at
be
the team they
ridiculous for
have,
the type of team that they are.
yeah, in the past years, okay, because everything was kind of so with them, but
Yeah.
but like you said, to add to the inconsistency, I think the inconsistency stems from it stemmed from two places. It stemmed from the defensive midfield, and it stemmed from forward areas. You signed Sancho and Ronaldo. That's your forward area covered.
Yeah.
Surely,
And
Sancho
you're
was
adding
maybe
already,
not.
and you're adding to already having Rashford, who'll be back in October, Greenwood, who's having an amazing start to the season. Like you already have all these creative options, and you have midfielders like Pogba and Bruno. But then again, sometimes in bigger games, not even just bigger games, sometimes in games in general, you see some of these United players not play to the level that they are expected to play every week. So then again, a question of consistency. I think that they will find it. So I think that United are definitely capable of winning a title this year.
I think
Whether
they
it's the
definitely are.
Prem though, I don't know, but I could definitely like a cup. They will contend for the Prem. They
Oh
could
yeah,
even do really
definitely.
good in the Champions League. They definitely
Yeah,
could easily win like an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup.
I would say that any of between at this point with Spurs signings, I would say Spurs might fall short.
Uh-huh.
But I would say anyone between Liverpool, City, Chelsea, United, and we all had,
Uh-huh.
we both of us had
That as our top
that
four.
our top four in our predictions. But I
Mhm.
think any of the four of those teams could be huge title contenders. Looking at the squad they have, looking at the way they've been playing. If United was a consistent team, that's
Yeah.
they're probably the biggest contenders this year. But next, I would say Chelsea.
Uh-huh.
Just Chelsea, looking at the squad depth they have, and Chelsea tend to be very consistent, especially when you have the depth that
Yeah.
you do and the players that you do and the style that you play in the games. So I think Chelsea are probably going to be the most dangerous looking at this season. But as for Liverpool and City as well, they both have extremely strong teams, extremely strong players. As of now, I mean, well, Bernardo Silva stayed,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which I think is huge for them because he played great in that Norwich game. I know it's Norwich,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, no,
Bernardo
he
Silva,
didn't. And he did play
he
well
played well.
against Arsenal as well.
Oh yeah.
You
You're right.
know, I'm excited for the season. I think it's gonna be great. All these transfers are now done. Unfortunately, it's international break, so we won't see a little bit of prem action until next weekend. But we once again want to say thank you for all the support. We're back now with content. Once Premier League action is back in full force, there'll be a lot more. So expect a little bit of dryness after this video. But once again, like we said, thank you for all the support, and we'll see you guys soon.